One day, Sir Topham Hatt came to the shed to tell Gordon some big news. Gordon, boomed Sir Topham Hatt, I have exciting news for you. Your brother, the Flying Scotsman, is currently at the works for a yearly maintenance check. The mainland controller would like to borrow you for a few days to help out on his railway until the Flying Scotsman is back. I agree, since we aren't very busy right now and can spare an engine. I will go with you since I need to discuss some important businesses with the mainland controller. Gordon was excited. Let's go, he bellowed out. But first, said Sir Topham Hatt, I need to tell everybody about the news. So Sir Topham Hatt gathered up the meeting with all his engines. Engines, said Sir Topham Hatt, I am going to be going away with Gordon to London for a few days. Thomas then had a question.
Who is going to be our controller, sir?
Asked Thomas. Mr. John, the sailor is going to be your controller while me and Gordon are gone. Percy then had another question.
When are you two going to be leaving?
We are leaving tomorrow morning. Is that all the questions, everybody? Wait, said all the engines. Do you mean Sailor John? Asked James. Sir Topham Hatt boomed loudly. Yes, I do. He goes by Mr. John now.
Why are you trusting Sailor John? He is very wicked and evil, and how does he know how to run a railway?
Henry spoke. He actually has been behaving very well since he got out of jail. Everyone has been impressed with him. He has been looking for a job, and he knows a lot about railways. He used to work on them when he was younger. I felt sorry for him, and I think he needs a second chance. So I made him the controller for a few days. I think all of you will enjoy him, said Sir Topham Hatt. I hope so, said Toby. Okay then, it looks like that's settled, Sir Topham Hatt said as he got into his car and drove away. Thomas couldn't believe that Sir Topham Hatt is letting Sailor John control the railway.
Sailor John is a naughty person,
said Thomas.
Who knows what he might do? All that talk about him being good sounds very false.
Eventually, the big day came for Gordon and Sir Topham Hatt. All the engines had a goodbye party at Knapford Station for Gordon. After the festivities had ended, Gordon and Sir Topham Hatt steamed away. Sailor John walked up. Hello, Mr. John, said all the engines. We heard you have changed your ways, said Edward.
Indeed,
said Henry. Thomas then asked Sailor John a question.
When are you going to give us our jobs?
The old man smiled.
Later this afternoon, but first I have to check some notes that Sir Topham Hatt left for me. Why don't you chill out with my friend Skiff at Tidmouth Sheds? I'll come there soon with the news about your jobs. Okay,
said Thomas as he and his friends steamed away. Gordon and Sir Topham Hatt were right on schedule. As they crossed the Vickertown Bridge onto the mainland, they saw Donald. Gordon stopped and had a chat with him. Donald smiled at Gordon. I heard the news that you are going to London to help out on the mainland railway. Was that propaganda or is it true? That was not fake news. I am going to Big Ben in London, said Gordon proudly. Have things been going back on the island of Sodor? Donald asked. It's been going good, said Gordon. I gotta go now. No time for chat. And Gordon went off like a rocket. Back on Sodor, the engines were still waiting for their jobs. Eventually, Sailor John came to give the engines their work. After giving instructions to the other engines in Tidmouth Sheds, he turned to Thomas, who was the only engine left.
Thomas, I want you to get some dynamite for my job with Diesel. What are you going to do with that dynamite?
Asked Thomas suspiciously. Sailor John then lied to Thomas. We're just following Sir Topham Hatt's orders. We need to blow up an old rotten shed that needs to be completely rebuilt.
Okay, Sailor John, you better be telling me the truth.
And Thomas went off. Later, things were getting bad for Gordon and Sir Topham Hatt. There was dark clouds, there was thunder and lightning. The rail slipped like they were covered in banana peel. Gordon and Sir Topham Hatt were worried. Sir Topham Hatt looked out from the cab. We better find a shed fast, Gordon, before trouble comes. It took them a little bit of time, but they found a nearby shed with water and coal, so Gordon filled up and took shelter. Back on Sodor, Thomas got some dynamite from a stored dynamite cone and gave it to Sailor John.
Thank you, Thomas,
said Sailor John. And the old man pirate went off to make his plans with Diesel tomorrow. Gordon and Sir Topham Hatt woke up the next morning. They left the shed.
Dizzy, so busy, our wheels don't touch the ground. Dizzy, we're dizzy.
They were almost at Big Ben.
It's pulling this enchanting hat. No, sir, yes, Sir Topham Hatt.
Back on Sodor, Sailor John and Diesel were making their plans.
Alright, Diesel, we are going to cause some dynamite ruckus in 5 days. We will cause damage to 3 different places and 2 signals. Roost Windmill, Sodor's Lighthouse, and Farmer Cole's Farm. And it's all going to happen in 5 days. This will be my revenge. Got that down, Diesel?
Said Sailor John.
Yes, I do, said Diesel. It's gonna be awesome.
Back on the mainland, Sir Topham Hatt and Gordon were just about to reach London until they had to stop at a red signal. Once it finally changed, Gordon and Sir Topham Hatt arrived at King's Cross in a matter of minutes. The controller of the mainland railway was waiting there for them. The controller's name was Andrew Moore. "Hello, I'm glad you arrived," Andrew Moore said. Sir Topham Hatt shook his hand. "Hi, Andrew. We had a hard time getting here, but we finally made it. Let's go have that meeting with other controllers." Gordon blew his whistle. "Hello, sir. My name is Gordon. What will I do for the next few days?" "For the first 3 days, you will pull passengers on the Flying Scotsman route, and in the last 2 days, you will pull freight. After that, you will be done on my railway. Get to work straight away." "Yes, sir," said Gordon as he rolled away. Everything went well for Gordon and Sir Topham Hatt. Gordon pulled coaches and freight very well. Everybody was pleased. Sailor John's plan was set. He was going to blow up the buildings at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and it was already 12 o'clock noon. As Sailor John was creeping back to the yard, after having placed the dynamite that Thomas had delivered a few days ago onto Diesel's flatbed. Thomas came up and stopped suddenly. The yard was empty, and they were the only ones there. He was suspicious.
Sailor John, I looked all over the place and I can't find that shed you were talking about. And none of the railroad employees know about it either. You were lying.
John laughed wickedly.
I'm gonna blow up a windmill, the lighthouse, the farm, and many signals around Sodor, said Sailor John, and the plan has already started. You can't stop it now. Listen here, John man, said Thomas angrily. You're not gonna destroy those 3 places and the signals. What's wrong with you? You take away those bad boys, or I'm calling them cabs.
Sailor John said,
No, you won't, Thomas. You're the one who brought me the dynamite, and there's no evidence at all of me doing it. Everyone will think you did it. I will call the cops on you, little blue engine, and I will destroy all of you.
Thomas raced away to tell all the engines. They had to stop John before it was too late. Gordon had finished his mainland job since Sir Topham Hatt's big meeting was over. Flying Scotsman had been completely repaired at the works and was now back to his normal job, meaning Gordon was no longer needed there. Sir Topham and Gordon's trip has gone very well, and now it was time for them to go back to Sodor. They were steaming quickly to get back to Sodor. The engines needed some little weapons to fight Sailor John, so they raced to the steamworks to see what Victor had. "Hello, my friends. What can I do for you?" said Victor. "Know that new controller?" said Toby. "His name is Sailor John, and he wants to blow up many of the buildings on Sodor. He wants us all destroyed, and we need our own little weapons to defeat him. Do you have anything for us?" "Yes, I do, my friend," said Victor. "Come with me. We will upgrade you with shields and swords, attached to your buffer so you can fight this wicked man. How does that sound?" said Victor. Sounds great, said all the engines. So they all chilled out at the steamworks and waited until they were all done. Alright, my friends, said Victor, you are all good to go. The workmen at the steamworks upgraded the engine's buffers using leftover scrap metal. And they went off like an army of steam engines. They arrived back at Tim's sheds and saw that Gordon was there. Gordon, said all the engines, how was Big Ben in London? It was great, said Gordon happily. Everyone was very polite and kind and it all worked out. Yes, indeed, said Sir Topham Hatt. Then he noticed how the engines all have swords and shields on their buffer beams. What is going on here?
Thomas explained, Sailor John tricked me to deliver him dynamite, and now he's going to blow up many of Sodor's buildings and wants to hurt us for revenge. We have to stop him now. Victor gave us these little weapons to help us defeat him.
Oh no, said Sir Topham Hatt, aka the Fat Controller. Let's defeat Sailor John. Hurry! So they all went to defeat Sailor John. They found him with Sailor John and Diesel as they were just about to leave to place the dynamite. They were ready to fight! The steamies, drivers, and firemen were ready to use the engine's swords and shields. The fight was scary! There was blood all over the place. And people were running around like chickens with their head cut off. It was a big fight if I've ever seen one. In the middle of the fight, Sailor John screamed, Diesel! Get back to my location now. You'll have to do it by yourself. Okay, SJ, said Diesel, and he sped away. Gordon, said Sir Topham Hatt, get the police right now. We've seen everything and know what we're going to do. Yes, sir, said Gordon. And he went off to get the police. Meanwhile, by working together, the engines had managed to capture Sailor John and keep him from moving. The police came as fast as they could. Hello, 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 what do you think you're doing? Sailor John tried to lie. Just having fun. I'm a good man, I swear. No, the policeman said. You are a wicked, evil man. At that moment, Diesel had placed the dynamite and had come back to see what was going on. He was trying to listen secretly, but one of the engines saw him. The police took out his driver and took control of him. Diesel is going to come with us too. There's not even a jail cell for diesel engines. We need to make one, said the police, and that's where the evil engines will go. But I didn't do anything, Diesel protested. Police were stern. You were helping that wicked man and setting up dynamite. Diesel cried, No, don't take me away! The police began to drive him towards an empty shed where they could lock him in. And they took Sailor John to jail. Suddenly, the engines realized something terrible. Oh no, said all the engines. We gotta get that dynamite out of the buildings and signals before it explodes. It could go off at any minute. Thomas remembered what Sailor John had told him.
The dynamite is supposed to go off at 2 o'clock.
What time is it? Asked James. It is 1:30, said Sir Topham Hatt. So we got 30 minutes to get rid of the dynamite. Thomas, Percy, and Gordon get the dynamite out of the free buildings. James and Henry, you get the dynamite away from the signals. Yes, sir, the 5 engines said. And they sped away like someone who had to go to the engine's bathroom terribly. Thomas, Percy, and Gordon were going as fast as they could. Their firebox fizzed and their wheels pumped like a big machine. James and Henry were already at the two signals and shut off the timer on the dynamite. Thomas and Percy did the same. Meanwhile, it took Gordon a while to reach the lighthouse. When he arrived there, it was too late to shut off the dynamite timer. It was going to explode any second. The driver and fireman picked up the dynamite as fast as they could and threw it into the ocean with great arm strength. It exploded moments later. Ocean water went high in the sky, but thankfully they were all safe and no damage was done. All the engines went back to tell the great news. The dynamite is gone. The battle is done. Woohoo!
Our apples filled and visitors here. The sights of Sodor all are waiting. Sit back and we'll take you there. Through the wind and rain we trundled, so we did the job for time. There were times we never grumbled, soon we knew the sun would shine. Together we made it.
Well done to all, said Sir Topham Hatt. You did excellent. Now go to Tim's sheds and have a great rest. And they all went home. When they arrived back at Tim's sheds, all the engines realized how grateful they were that Gordon had come back, and how much they had missed him and Sir Topham. We are so glad you came back, Gordon. We couldn't have defeated Sailor John and shut off the dynamite without you. Hip hip hooray! Hip hip hooray! Yippee for Big Blue, said James. The engines talked all night about Gordon's exciting trip from the mainland.
What else happened in London? Asked Percy. Who was the controller there?
His name is Andrew Moore, said Gordon. He was a very good controller.
Was he busy? Asked Henry. Were there a lot of engines?
And so they talked on and on through the entire night until they fell fast asleep. They were all really useful engines. The end.
One is strong, but two are stronger. So put your differences aside.
Thanks for watching, my boys.